The rain fell in sheets, drenching the cobblestone streets of the small, forgotten town of Black Hollow. Seraphim stood at the edge of the forest, her trembling hands clutching the tattered edges of her daughter's favorite scarf. The scarf was all she had left of her, a single thread of hope in a world that had turned its back on her. Her daughter, Lily, had vanished 2 weeks ago, and the townsfolk had given up the search after the first few days. But Seraphim refused to let go. She couldn't. The forest loomed before her, dark and foreboding, its ancient trees whispering secrets to the wind. The townspeople called it the Whispering Woods, a place where the veil between worlds was thin, and where the desperate and the damned often sought answers. Seraphim had never believed in such tales, but now, with nowhere else to turn, she found herself standing at its edge, her heart pounding in her chest. "Lily," she called out, her voice breaking. "Please, if you can hear me, answer me." But the only response was the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Seraphim clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. She couldn't give up. Not now. Not ever. As she stepped into the forest, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to stretch and twist around her. The trees closed in, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Seraphim pressed on, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she knew she had to keep going. Hours passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time seemed to lose all meaning in the Whispering Woods. Seraphim's legs ached, and her throat was raw from calling out Lily's name. Just as she was about to collapse from exhaustion, she stumbled into a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a figure, cloaked in shadows. Seraphim froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The figure turned, and she saw that it was a man, or at least something that resembled a man. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and his skin was pale, almost translucent. He smiled, revealing sharp, pointed teeth. "Who dares to enter my domain?" he asked, his voice echoing through the clearing like the tolling of a bell. Seraphim swallowed hard, forcing herself to stand tall. "I am Seraphim," she said, her voice trembling but determined. "My daughter Lily is missing. I'll do anything to find her. Please, if you know where she is, tell me." The man or creature tilted his head, studying her with those glowing eyes. "Anything," he repeated, his smile widening. "Are you certain, mortal? The price for such knowledge is steep." Seraphim hesitated, but only for a moment. "Yes," she said firmly. "Anything." The creature stepped closer, his movements fluid and unnatural. "Very well," he said. "I can help you find your daughter. But in return, you must give me something of equal value." "What do you want?" Seraphim asked, her heart pounding. The creature's smile turned predatory. "Your soul." Seraphim's breath caught in her throat. Her soul. Was he serious? She had heard stories of deals with the devil, but she had never believed them. And yet, here she was, face to face with something that defied explanation. "My soul," she whispered. The creature nodded. "Yes, your soul for your daughter's life. A fair trade, wouldn't you say?" Seraphim's mind raced. She thought of Lily's laughter, her bright eyes, her tiny hands clutching her favorite doll. She thought of the nights they had spent together, reading stories by the fire. She thought of the future they would never have if she didn't do something, anything to save her. "Yes," she said, her voice steady now. "I'll do it. Take my soul, but bring my daughter back to me." The creature's smile widened, and he extended a hand. "Then we have a deal." Seraphim reached out, her hand trembling as she placed it in his. The moment their skin touched, a searing pain shot through her body, and she felt as though she were being torn apart from the inside. She screamed, but no sound came out. The world around her blurred and twisted, and she felt herself falling into darkness. When she opened her eyes, she was back in the clearing, but something was different. The air was colder, the shadows deeper. The creature was gone, and in his place stood Lily, her eyes wide with fear. "Mommy!" Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Seraphim's heart leapt, and she rushed forward, pulling her daughter into her arms. "Lily! Oh, my sweet Lily, you're safe." But as she held her daughter, she felt a coldness spreading through her chest. She looked down and saw that her hands were pale, almost translucent like the creature's had been. She felt a hollow emptiness inside her, as though something vital had been ripped away. "Mommy, what's wrong?" Lily asked, her voice filled with fear. Seraphim forced a smile, though her heart was breaking. "Nothing, sweetheart. Everything's going to be okay." But she knew it wasn't true. She had made a deal with a monster, and now she was paying the price. She had given up her soul to save her daughter, and though she didn't regret it, she knew that her time with Lily was limited. As they walked out of the forest, Seraphim held Lily's hand tightly, savoring every moment. She didn't know how much time she had left, but she was determined to make the most of it. She would cherish every laugh, every smile, every precious second with her daughter. And when the time came for her to leave this world, she would do so with a heart full of love, knowing that she had done everything she could to protect the one person who mattered most. Epilogue. Years passed, and Lily grew into a strong, independent young woman. She never forgot her mother's sacrifice, and she carried Seraphim's love with her every day of her life. Though Seraphim was gone, her spirit lived on in the memories of those who had known her, and in the heart of the daughter she had saved. And in the whispering woods, the creature watched, his glowing eyes filled with a strange, almost human emotion. He had taken many souls over the centuries, but Seraphim's had been different. Her love for her daughter had been pure, selfless, and unbreakable. It was a love that even he, a creature of darkness, could not fully comprehend. As the years turned to decades, and the decades to centuries, the legend of Seraphim and her sacrifice was passed down through the generations. It became a tale of hope, of love, and of the lengths a mother would go to for her child. And though the whispering woods remained a place of darkness and fear, there was a small, hidden glade where the trees seemed to whisper a different kind of secret, a secret of love, of sacrifice, and of the enduring power of a mother's heart.